again, thanks for having me on this. So today I'm going to talk about career trajectory and life journey topics, and the way I chose to get into it was through these two entry points from these two perspectives. One being the term jack of all trades versus master of one, and the other portion would be about mentorship. So I'm going to move into it now. Jack of all trades, master of one versus mentorship. So the first topic, jack of all trades, master of one, that is a statement that's been with me from the very, very beginning. It's been at the crux of my entire professional and personal career path. And then mentorship has been a very big aspect for me when I had it or didn't have it. The presence of mentorship or the lack thereof of mentorship has been very important. And then for me, as a black, as an African American man, I feel it's really kind of really important. Mentorship is really important because, as we all know, my lineage does not come from generational wealth, and there's not a lot of inheritance, and there's not a lot of knowledge about a lot of things. My family raised me really big on knowledge of self, because that, as a black person, that's been the first thing that we needed to get back before we could even work on property value and wealth and all this other stuff. We had to get our own dignity and our own self of understanding back. So that's been a big part of my upbringing. So, hello, my name is Charles Little. I'm a self-employed creative professional. I've been expressing myself through the visual arts for as long as I can remember, and my career today is the culmination of my life to manifest that which arises with me. And that is a way to say that my career path is intentional, but it's dynamic. It wasn't 1 + 1 = 2. I did know from a very beginning that I wanted to be in entertainment and the visual arts. As a child, I always drew. I played guitar growing up. I always wanted to be like some sort of rock star, some sort of performer. I danced. So I didn't have an exact clear, hey, this is exactly what I want to do, but I did know the direction that I wanted to be in and the world that I wanted to be in. Today, I am a motion picture editor. I'm a photographer. I'm a designer. I'm a student of martial arts. I'm a family and friends first individual, which speaks basically my values, what's really important to me. This is why I call myself a jack of all trades, but a master of one. The master of one aspect is the fact that the various roles hats that I wear, the various expressions of creativity that I'm comfortable in are all basically rooted and grounded in the same place. I've been sitting in front of a computer until the wee hours of the morning since the mid-1990s, and here we are now, and I'm still in the same place. And what that tells me is that's where I belong. That's where I'm most happy. Because even though I'm being paid to sit here in front of this computer until the wee hours and work out these scenes and figure out these puzzles and try to find the emotion within the material that I'm working with, this is where I've always found myself anyway. So I know this is where I would be, this is where I want to be, and that's really important to me.
Charles, can I see?
Oh,
shit. There's a Freddie Baez page.
Yeah, for sure. So I wanted to talk about how I know Freddie Baez,
Yeah.
because the fact that Freddie's, is at the crux of this engagement, and the fact that I'm friends with Freddie is not an accident. I've known Freddie for 20 plus years, and we've been friends. We've done business together. We've run mad marketing promotions for agencies and brands alike. Freddie and I once ran a street. Let me put my glasses on just so I can make sure that I can read all that. Yeah, Freddie and I once ran a statewide street team initiative for a client that was aimed directly at concert goers. The program required us to transport teams of brand ambassadors and materials to various music concerts throughout the state and engage people on the ground and deliver our brand's messaging and materials, and to document the engagements and deliver measurable data back to the client. When circumstances impeded our efforts to fulfill our intended mission, Freddie and I got creative on our feet, and we sought out other concerts whose fans we felt would fit our desired demographic. Without establishing any contact with the venue management, we effectively surpassed our intended goals and executed a successful program for our client. We never told anyone about the challenges that we met, nor the means by which we negotiated these said challenges. This is but a single example of why Freddie is so dope, why I'm such a fan. Because he is a creative thinker. Freddie thinks outside of the box. That's why he's a success. He's not lucky. He's not even all that good. He just he's really good because he's good. You're good. Not like it's good because you do the work. It's good because you apply yourself. You actually think about it. It's not luck. And that's what I think Freddie so fresh. So with that being said, I'm grateful to be sharing this presentation today on this Shinjiro session, and I thank you, Freddie, for the opportunity, and I hope that my journey here can somehow be informative to others. So I wanted to let you guys know this is where I'm at today. Today I'm a motion picture editor. And people might call it a video editor or just an editor or a picture editor or a film editor. I'm a motion picture editor because I put together pictures and I put them into motion, and I use that medium to evoke emotion, to tell a story, to make you feel a certain way. I relocated from Chicago to Los Angeles in 2006 to pursue a career as a film and television editor. And I'm currently a proud member of the Editors Union, known as the Motion Picture Editors Guild. I serve on the Guild's diversity committee, and I'm currently in a procedural drama entitled 911 Lone Star, produced by Ryan Murphy Television for 20th Television, which airs Monday nights on Fox. This morning today, I also got a phone call from the American Cinema Editors, which is without a doubt the most prestigious organization in the industry, centered on the advancement and profession of the craft of editing. And I was officially inducted into that organization this morning. So that is a huge thing for me. So now when I get to a screen credit, I get to write my name as Charles Little. I get these 3 letters after it. And more importantly than that, I'm now able to rub elbows. I'm able to get in the room. I'm able to sit at the table with a bunch of artisans that are different and more experienced than I am. And that means I'm not the smartest person in the room, and that's where I want to be. So this is the crux of my whole presentation for you guys today, and this is kind of my journey. I have struggled from the beginning with the notion, jack of all trades, master of none, versus being a specialist. And I'm sure this isn't a foreign topic for you guys. You've all heard this before too.
Yep.
You can't be really, really good at everything. You can you're gonna water yourself down. You have to be a specialist. And I fought it. I fought it for a really long time. And this is why this statement is the topic of my presentation today, because this dilemma has been at the root of my entire career trajectory. I've done everything from, I'm always doing different stuff. And so I thought I was just schizophrenic, and I was never gonna be successful enough, quote unquote. I was never gonna make it big. Later in life, as I look back on my career trajectory, I've done quite well, and I'm really happy with my path. More so than the amount of money or property that I've acquired. I'm more about the experiences that I've been a part of, the experiences I've been instrumental in creating for other people, and the memories that we've created, and all of these relationships that I've created along the way, which to me is really the most important thing. The first part of that journey I'll call finding my greatest gift. I think it's really important on the front end to really try to learn what it is that makes you tick. A fish is different than a bird. They do different things. They have some commonalities. They're both alive. They both want to eat. They both want to breathe. They both want to breed. But they're really, really different. The fish thrives in his or her environment, doesn't do so well in the bird's environment, and vice versa. So finding your greatest gift, I think, is really important, really figuring out what it is that you do. I was born in the late 1960s, so as a child, I always drew. And I remember when I was really young, I wanted to be a rock star. So I took guitar lessons, and I sang and all these different things. I studied dance. And by the time I got into college, I wasn't super confident in my musicianship or my singing voice. So I was like, I don't know if this whole rock star thing's going to really work. But I definitely want to be in entertainment. It's where I thrive. It's where I want to be. So when I go to school, I think I'll study sound engineering, because if I can't be on the stage, well, I'll be backstage or I'll be running the stage. Okay, that's fine for me. And then I studied dance because I just always danced. During that year at Columbia College, Chicago, I think it was 1993, I went through one trimester of that school. And at the end of that trimester, we had these speeches. And all three of the orators that spoke to us began their presentations by saying, hey, look, there was no school for this when I came into this world. So, great that you guys have this. One person was a studio engineer. The other person was a live sound reinforcement engineer, and the other was an acousticist who designed acoustic spaces and amphitheaters and things like that. So when I heard that all three of those artists had made their way through life and there was no school, I immediately thought, well, what am I doing wasting my time here? And I left school and I started calling around all around Chicago and the suburbs to every single sound company, every single post house, and every single recording studio that I could make a list of. And I called them like twice a day because there were so many. And I called them every day for about a month. And I left these really annoying messages. Hey, this is Charles, just calling you back because I haven't heard from you. And it's just another day without you having me working in your studio. And just making up stuff. I actually really wanted to work at one of these 12 different places. And then I got a call from a guy 94, and he said, Charles, I want you to show up at the Gateway Theater on Lawrence Avenue at 12:30 on Saturday. And I don't want you to call this number anymore. And I showed up through that again. It was through that job that I met some people that I'm still friends with to this day, some different musicians that I'm still friends with. That's where I engaged the Chicago underground party scene because I rented sound and I met the promoters and I got inspired. And then one day one of those promoters, who to this day I'm still friends with, who works in it. And then in 1995, I did just that. I threw my very first own party. And in creating the flyer for that party, the person that made it, as I watched that person make it, and I saw his fingers touching these keyboards, doing these things, my mind said to myself, well, if he could do that, that means I could do that. After that party, which was successful, I caught the bug for graphic design. And I didn't own a computer, so I went to Kinko's, and I would sit in Kinko's basically from around 11 in the morning to midnight, working on flyers for myself and other promoters. And that's how I learned. I was taught by the challenge from my clients. When my client said, hey, I want it to look like this and I want it to do that, the challenge that made me say, oh, how do I do that? Because it wasn't my idea. And that gave root to every single thing else that I've ever done since then. That was the beginning of me finding my expression through the digital medium on a computer. And today, as a film editor, sure, it's a little bit more involved in that, but at its crux, I'm still in front of a computer creating with digital information. After that, in 1995, the very next year, 1996, I merged my love for promotions and my affinity for graphic design into these two brands that I merged together called Pure and WPCM, which stood for Wicker Park Creative Mediums. So I had a little design firm and I started, promoting. By the time 2000 had come around, I had become a quite established promoter in Chicago. And I played a role in manifesting what we all today know as EDM. We all knew back then that what we were working on was tomorrow's rock and roll, and here we are at tomorrow. And as you can see, that was the deal. That entire generation, Freddie's a part of that, are a lot of today's, brand builders and, outward thinking marketers. Hence, in 2004, once I kind of grew out of promoting and wanted to focus more on expressing myself in the digital world, creating more powerful media, I went from being a promoter straight into marketing. It was a really logical progression. And during that time, I ended up becoming a touring video director and assistant tour manager. And I toured with artists like R. Kelly and Jay-Z, James, LCD Sound System, and I did Latin tours for brands like McDonald's with people like Gilberto Santa Rosa and Luis Miguel, all types of things. And that was a really powerful time in my life, moving around. And then along the way, there was a day where I was at an event and I had worked really hard on all these visuals, dealing with all these politics to maintain my connection and maintain my position on this tour. And I realized at one moment that the entire building really could give two shits about what was on the screens. And so I did this test. I took my computers and I set them all the software that I was using to mix the video, I set it on auto kind of rotation. And I literally left. I left the venue. I visited with some friends who I knew in that town. And I came back and I had promised myself, when I come back and walk back into this theater, if no one knows that I've left, I'm quitting. And sure enough, no one knew that I had ever left the building. No one was paying attention. The people on the floor weren't paying attention. Neither were my freaking clients that had paid me to be there. So there's no reason for me to be here because no one gives a shit. So that's when I made the decision to relocate to California and to focus my skills and my tools as a digital artist on media that actually said something. I just didn't want to make pretty colors anymore. And that's what led me into becoming an assistant editor in 2010, which led to me being an editor today. And in 2010, I started work reality television. And since then, man, I've just been all around Los Angeles working on all types of television programming, from half-hour unscripted to hour-long scripted to documentary. And recently, I made the jump into scripted television. And today, in 2021, I'm pursuing mastery of my craft. So I'm now no longer just trying to work and make money and get to the next thing. I'm kind of at the thing that I want to be at. So now I just want to focus on being the best editor that I can be and the best collaborator that I can be. It's not only about the results that you produce, it's also about the process of working with you that's really, really important. People want to work with people that are authentic, who really care about what they're doing. And yeah, they do want you to be good at it. But when you're really, really good, but you're kind of a prick, people will deal with you, but as soon as they get an opportunity to not, they won't. So that's my lesson on that. And moving into mentorship, the importance of paying it forward. What you're seeing on the screen here is the results of a Zoom meeting that took place with myself and various members of the Motion Picture Editors Guild's Diversity Committee. Kathy Ripola, who's pictured in this grid, is the president of the Motion Picture Editors Guild. And these people here you may not recognize them or know them, but they are all Academy Award nominated, Emmy nominated. They're the top of the pile. They make all the films and television that we all watch every day. and I work with them on a regular basis, and sometimes it kind of blows my mind. 2020 definitely was a year that opened the door on some racial reckoning in this culture here, and so paved the way for some of these mentorship conversations to happen. And that's what this article was. I will provide you guys a link if you're interested in this magazine. It's called Cinema. This is a magazine that comes directly from the Motion Picture Editors Guild. What's really important for me too, as a black post-production professional and black editor, is I really want other people of color to really realize how many opportunities there are in the world of film and television, aside from what you may see on the screen. Almost anything that you do is probably needed in film or television. From hair and makeup to wardrobes to writing to set design to politics to accounting, it's all there. And it's a really, really great place to aspire. Because what I've noticed in the entertainment world is if you really want anything and you continue at it, almost everyone that I've been working with, they all of them have experienced some version of achieving what they set out to. The only people who haven't are those who quit and moved away. This next page, these are a couple of the entities that I'm a member of. The Diversity Mentorship Group, pictured here, and the Diversity in Post, a Motion Picture Editors Guild discussion group. These are two committees that are devoted to and spend their time connecting mentors with mentees. And that has been very rewarding for me as a person who did not have mentors to look toward when I moved to this town. I came from Chicago where I had a lot of contacts and knew a lot of people. Came to Hollywood, I know nobody, and people could give two shits about what the hell I was talking about. So it was very difficult to create avenues. I had to sneak into back windows and work my way into rooms. And now that I'm in that room, I want to be able to escort other people who are ready and who really want it into the room as well. The February, it's Celebration Time, Cut to Black. That's a series that the Diversity Guild puts together. So I'm sharing all this with you to say, I really believe it's our job to be mentored, and then it's definitely our job to mentor. That's what's going to make things better. On the mentorship tip, these are a couple of my mentors that have been instrumental in helping me navigate this industry, which is difficult to navigate, and to navigate my own madness, because I'm an artist and we are crazy. And so James Wilcox, as we speak, he is in London working on his second film for Ron Howard. He just edited Hillbilly Elegy with like Amy Hart and Glenn Close. He cut Roots, the second Roots, not the old school one, and Hawaii Five-O. So he's done television, he's done film, and he's working at the high levels right now. And what I love about James is, even though James is black, he's not a black editor. He's just an editor. And that's what's so important for us. We, as black people, it's almost impossible for us to transcend our outside color. Not that we want to. We just would rather it not be such a freaking issue. And I'm really proud that James has done what he's done and shared what he has shared and continues to share with me so that I can share it with someone else one day. The other cat next to me, pictured there, Ravi Subramanian, he is one of the most efficient editors I've ever worked with, I've ever even seen work. He breaks the paradigm. There's an old paradigm, this triangle: speed, quality, and cost. If it's fast and it's good, it's going to be expensive. If it's fast but cheap, it's no good. This guy definitely makes that true. He's fast and he's good and he's not cheap. He's taught me so much and he continues to teach me all the time. And he's my supervising editor on 911 Lone Star right now. He's cut everything from unscripted shows, really classy powerful unscripted shows like Chef's Table for Netflix, Fearless, which was a documentary on the professional bull riding. I'm not interested in bull riding. It's just not my thing. But when I want his film, I was on the hook for the entire time. That's not because the subject matter was interesting to me. It's because the filmmaking was done well. And so that's very important. Let's see the talk points. My mentors, I've talked to you about those, why I value mentorship so highly because I see how important, how instrumental it is, what a big part it plays in getting people from A to B. Coming from Chicago, there's a lot of old sayings, like I have some friends who are Irish, they have old sayings like, we don't listen, if you knock on the door and say, hey, I'm here for a job, what they'll say to you is, who sent you? Well, nobody sent me, I'm just looking for work. And they'll say, we don't take nobody that didn't nobody send. And when I came to Hollywood, nobody sent me. There is no one. Nobody in my family knows. They barely even know what it is that I do. They can barely put it into words. So mentorship is really, really important. So that's why it's so important to me, because I didn't really have a lot of it. I did have a lot of it in a lot of personal ways. I just didn't have a lot of it career-wise. The kerning versus moving the letters closer together story. As a graphic designer, when I had that little firm, Wicker Park Creative Mediums, I had some college students who studied graphic design working for me. It was the first times that I realized the difference between education and being self-taught. When one of the students commented on my usage of typography, he said, wow, I really love the way you've kerned the text. And I said, what? Well, you've got greatly reduced kerning, the way you've kerned everything. I was like, what are you talking about? He goes, you look at the word. I go, you mean the letters crunched together? He goes, yeah. I go, oh, what's it called? Kerning. I was like, okay. I didn't know what the hell that was. And it takes me into the last statement that I heard way back when I was a kid. I used to sit on the floor and listen to MTV on my mom and my parents' floor. I used to watch the TV. Eddie Van Halen was being interviewed on MTV. This was probably like 1984 or something. And the interviewer said to Eddie, is it true that you have never taken guitar lessons? That you never had any lessons, have you? And Eddie said, no, I haven't. I mean, if I had lessons, I might play like you. And I just never forgot that statement. Am I a proponent of education? I am. But there's what you bring to the table too. So always be an active member. Always be in the driver's seat in your life. You don't just listen to what people say, and you also don't just run off, oh, I know what I'm doing. So those college kids that came to work for me, although I built that little firm and it was my office, they're my machines and I'm paying them, I had a lot to learn from those kids. So it's important that your ego's enough so that you can take advantage of that. Learning is a two-way street. These are some of my favorite books and bibliotherapy because, as I said, I didn't have a lot of sources to draw from as I moved through my life. And these are some of the books that opened a lot of things for me. The autobiography of Malcolm X was one of the very first books I ever read, and I read that in 1988 when I was in the United States Navy. It really helped me a lot with my own identity issues. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is such a powerful book that I can't recommend it enough to anyone and everyone. They have these 7 habits that if you ever can just learn them and put them on a piece of paper and keep them in your pocket, I really believe that the 7 habits just fucking changed the whole world. It's some of the greatest doctrine, some of the greatest information I've ever read. The Way of the Superior Man, it can be kind of heady for people, but I think it's a very important book for both men and women. It discusses the concept of feminine and masculine energy, which transcends male and female sex. That's all I'll say about that book, but David Deida is a well-known philosopher, and he wrote that book. Rob Lowe, Stories I Only Tell My Friends. It's ironic because now I'm an editor on a show that he's the star of. and I see him every day, all the time. But that book, Stories I Only Tell My Friends, when I took that book in, I began reading it on paperback, and then I transitioned to listening to it audibly. He narrated the book himself, which was cool because every day when I got in my car, I was almost stoked to get in my car to go to work or wherever I was going to go, because I felt like Rob was jumping in the passenger seat going, okay, so, listen, I'm with these 6 chicks. There's blow everywhere. And he told these insane stories that only Rob Lowe could tell. Like I said, I came to Hollywood, no connections, no inroads, no information. I don't know nothing. And I don't know nobody. So those stories from Rob Lowe, they were insightful for me in this crazy world that I had just walked into, Hollywood. And then this last book here, Bill Duke. Bill Duke, that book was very powerful for me because just like Rob Lowe's book, it offered me insights into Hollywood, into this world that my heart is pulling me into. But Bill Duke is a black man who's born and raised in my father's era. So everything he went through was much more personally relatable for me than what Rob Lowe talked about. Rob Lowe's stories, he's having sex with the Queen of Monaco, and like Burt Lancaster is like cracking jokes with him and stuff. This really happens. There was a day that I was at a party with Rob Lowe once in LA in the late 80s, so that's the closest I ever got. So I did see him in his full party range. So as he told the stories, I totally believed them all. But when Bill Duke told his stories, I could relate directly to those stories. So I'm a big proponent of books, bibliotherapy, and information. Try to curate the information that you get, because there's a bunch of information out there and it's not all the best information in my opinion. And in closing, these are some of my, I guess, kind of mantras or messages that I remind myself of constantly. One being find your gift, which I talked about at the top of the presentation. Try to know really what it is that you do, what it is that makes you tick. And when you figure that out, go toward that. Because, like I said, I forget who said it, but there's an old saying, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's kind of true. I also say have a hero, at least a hero, if not multiple heroes. I'm not saying worship or look up to, like, oh, they're the God. You're the God. But I feel it's important to have examples that you look up to and you respect. Maybe that's just me, but I say, when I meet people, younger people, and I talk to them, I say, hey, who do you look up to? Or is there someone that has done what you're doing that you think that they crushed it? No, not really. I just, I'm like, well, I think you should do some more research, Another thing, be true to yourself as often as you can be, has always been a challenge for me. Getting my ego in check and dealing with insecurity and self-doubt has always been with me. You fail along the way, and failing, it can mess with your confidence. It really, really can. So I say, try to be true to yourself. Try to find others that you can talk with to realize, oh, they have those insecurities as well. Okay, that's not just me. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm afraid, but I'm stepping forward. And then lastly, try not to deal with excuses for yourself. And then you definitely won't deal with them from others. But stop giving them to yourself. I'm not saying be brutally cruel to yourself, but don't waste time with excuses, I say, because life really just doesn't care. It just doesn't. You gave your best, you failed, you gave your best, you crushed it, whatever it is. Keep it moving, because today will be over. And when you lay your head down, you just want to make certain that you feel good about everything you left behind you today. And that's it. So thanks for taking this time. I'm grateful for your interest in my work. Oh, I forgot to tell you. On the right side of this page, a long time ago in a cutting room far, far away, that's a book I read by an editor named Paul Hirsch. And then, ironically enough, I noticed a post somewhere that Paul Hirsch was going to be in LA speaking about his book, doing a book signing. So I made my way over there. Is Paul Hirsch my hero? No, he's not. But Paul Hirsch is someone who's done things that I respect, and he has insights to share. So I say to you, do your research, find people who've already walked the path that you want to walk, holler at them, and learn, because they can tell you, don't step on the red leaves with the yellow stripe. So now that's something that you don't have to waste your time doing. You can deal with some other problem. So that was one of the things, that's what that picture is right there. And then that's my social media down there if you ever want to follow me and figure out what I'm doing, or reach out and ask a question or say anything. And I'm always open to it. And that's, I think, yep, that is it, people.
Awesome. Let's
start presenting.
Oh.
Nice.
Okay.
Great presentation. Thank you. That's from the Freddie Byers living room.
Say that again?
I said that's from the Freddie Byers living room. I know we have other guests here. Shani, great to see you on. We all love Shani, Chicago. Now I think she's in Austin.
Austin, Texas.
Yeah, she's on.
Burbank herself.
She XO'd us right now.
Wait on this stuff.
She don't got the camera on, but she's there. She's under Herbert Tech Consulting. There you go. There goes her face. But
that's cool.
3 comments, Charles. So first, I would say when you brought up mentorship, I just turned 47 on Friday, and when you brought up mentorship, I had last week, Wednesday, I had a little video thing with the team, and I just started talking about mentorship, and I'm glad somebody else is bringing it up, because it's so important, right? Like even right now, even the youngest person in this room right now, Linda, is mentoring interns, and like the importance of paying it forward. It's like, man, that all played a role into how everybody got somewhere, right? It's so important to not be selfish, and it's sometimes taxing, or you may not always have all the time in the world, but it's really important to be a mentor. Second, it was yesterday, I remember being in understanding first, hanging out with Charles and going to his home, and he's the first person that I seen take 2 screens off of a computer. He's the first person in my life work off of 2 video screens, and I would see him move from one screen to another, and he would explain to me, I did this and this, and I'd be like, what the fuck? The shit blew my mind. I'd never seen it before. Now, obviously, it's a regular thing, but, that he was so ahead of it, and he would have these hard drives that will be like orange. It looked like they would float on water, right? I'm like, what the fuck type of hard drive is this? He would just have so much shit, and it showed me, oh yeah, I'm creating this video graphic, and it was like when you worked with the Legacy for Chevy Regal, the Latin stuff, and I would see Charles, it's different seeing people do graphic design, but people make things move, and I remember when you did that video, you did your old video of that one movie, that British movie with the girl, and you put your own soundtrack on it. I don't know if you remember. It was this video.
I do. That was a big video, yeah.
Yeah, you did this music video. That shit blew my mind. So I was, I think, blessed to see Charles do some real innovative shit before there was all these tools and all these apps and programs on your computer that made life like this a little bit easier. But you still need talent to navigate all of that. I personally will say, he's definitely it's like a brother to me, super important individual in my life. In fact, I am sad because I think for 6 years in a row, I would spend all my birthdays with Charles. We would have birthday dinner at the same Italian restaurant in LA for 6 years in a row. Last year during COVID was the first year in 6 years I didn't do my birthday dinner with Charles, and then this year's now.
Charles, I was just standing this year.
Lee's been your standing. but I look forward to getting back there. But like he's been a very, I think everybody needs someone to like that you could like just, be 100% yourself, 100% like be able to like express yourself, and as a peer just be able to kind of lean on, and everybody needs those type of people in their lives, and Charles has definitely been one of those people for me. So thank you.
Well, we've been lucky, man, because even the dude next to you, Freddie,
Yes.
I've known Lee Farmer longer than I've known everybody on this call.
Yes. Yep.
People don't even know.
I know.
Like Lee Farmer and I, we met each other. Like y'all listen to LBC and Snoop Dogg. We were there.
We were there.
When that shit was happening, when Cube and them were shooting up stuff, and Eazy-E was running around, Lee Farmer and I were in Long Beach at the Golden Frog.
Golden Frog, baby.
We were right there. I was carrying a 38 in the military. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to be dating girls in Compton. I'm driving through Compton. Ridiculous.
Hey, those were wild times. Wild times. And we were from Chicago. Two cats from Chicago, like rolling in LA, like we were just everywhere, bro.
I had tattoos, from the hundreds, So I thought I was kind of hard. I'm so lucky. I was gonna get killed out there. They was gonna beat me up. They was gonna kill me. But I was like, I could. I'm lucky as all get out.
You and me both, bro. Those were those days where we thought we were invincible.
Yeah.
Good times,
Brother.
man.
Well, but that's it. Look, once again, thank y'all. If anyone has any questions, you're more than welcome to, hit me on social or whatever. But whatever you do, man, this culture. This is a country that was founded on free labor. They're built on slavery, so it's subconscious, and so you're gonna work your ass off no matter what, either to get it or to keep it. So I say, figure out what you really like doing. It's the most important thing, I think. Just don't chase the dollar. You gotta chase what you do. And then if you find what you're doing, you love it, but you're not making enough money, you can deal with that. Just try to make more money at what you're doing and think about it. But if you chase the dollar, man, you can end up with money. You can end up like Donald Trump, get up with a whole bunch of money, miserable, confused. We don't need that. We got enough of that, That's it. A lot of haters around here too. I mean, did Larry Miller do one of these with y'all?
Larry's on right now.
He did what?
He's on the team.
He's on the team.
And he's on the call right now.
But
Charles, nobody want to hear about the Euro session. I'm right here with these guys all the time. They're not trying to hear that. I'm still learning. Don't be good.
Now,
Larry pretty every update.
Larry's got a lot, Larry's around, he's done a lot of stuff, and he's very, Larry was different. I mean, I didn't connect as much with Larry, but I saw him from the distance. You did different stuff. You were very Larry Miller the whole time, and that's really line about, the whole stay true to yourself thing, So.
That's what everybody says.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. But also in that time period, which was really interesting, was that I was around people like you. I was around people like Eric. I was around people like Obi, like Seth, like Lee, like Freddie, like Derek, all the guys that we came up with, you guys are a little bit older than me, but like I saw all of you guys doing amazing things. And most of you guys were being true to yourselves in your own right.
Oh yeah, we were.
Another Charles Little.
Yeah.
Nobody was running around doing you.
Yeah, we were.
No, nobody like Charles Little.
You know?
We broke the ball.
Yeah, Charles broke the ball. Does
Bill Oakley's there too. Look at that word. He's another one.
Yeah.
Bill Oakley is a dude. He worked. I think he still works for. So Bill Oakley is an executive at Pure or the microphone company.
Yes.
This guy like created an entire turntable, an entire tour, for sure. It went totally over their heads. I mean, it worked. It trafficked their needles and their whole phonograph department. It trafficked it out into the world that they did not know how to reach. But those were some innovative things that I had done with Bill. He used to do. He had a series that we did called The Future Sounds of Chicago, where Shure came in and sponsored a particular night that we ran at clubs, and then we used that night to book local DJs and then give them a bunch of Shure products and talk about Shure products. I mean, it was like sponsorship before I even knew about sponsorship.
Dude, I'm still crushed about the
Look
MM47s.
at Lewis.
I'm still crushed about the MM47s.
Yeah, Lewis is talking in a mute. You don't know he's on mute. He still doesn't know he's on mute.
Lewis
This is cool too.
he said he's talking on mute. There he is.
No, I'm on mute because I was at chiropractic.
He's listening to the whole. And then I still remember your voice, dude. Ripped out.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
It's all good, baby boy. Good to
First
see
of all, it's great to hear from you. You definitely are one of the people that have inspired me. And I definitely, it's just a pleasure to hear you speak and bring out some of the memories, the double monitors. I know a lot of people that know me for a long time that used to see me back in the days working on double monitors be like, damn, to me it was just the industry because I had seen you working like that. And a lot of like myself, Frankie V, we really picked up, a lot of the trend from you, no doubt.
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff together, but you were the guys that were coming to the studio with the idea that would push us.
Yeah.
When Billy came in and wanted to make some handcuffs and throw a party called Roots, I was like, handcuffs.
I'll never forget the event you were doing hard, and when I showed up, how many people you guys actually had. I thought you guys were insane to put so much money on a line on a phone number. I thought it was ridiculous. Like, how are you not going to put the venue in?
It was ridiculous, and it was like, it was magic. The dopest part, which is talking about that transcends like the logic, is when we would lose the venue literally 8 days before the event, and we're a month and a half into promotions, thousands of people have called, and the team would be like, oh my God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I'd say, shh, we're going to find another venue. Yeah, but where?
Thank God for Harvey.
And then we would find some crazy venue somewhere, and the folks would be like, well, be doggone. You're right, okay. It came from my boy. No problems. You got my money?
Yeah, you honestly were the first person I ever seen bring the graphics of the flyer onto the event into video. I never had seen that before. You know what I mean? Like, holy fuck, that's dope as fuck. These guys are bit mapping. I remember you guys were video mixing before video mixing. I didn't even know what it was back then.
We were trying to make a full experience because back then people would make these flyers.
Yeah. And
the flyer had nothing to do. I was like, what is this? It's a big booty chick with like a car. Right. What is that? And so we started shooting.
Hey, I might be guilty of those.
Lewis, you were very good.
Lewis was the master of that flyer.
He's still making them now.
In the car. Well, we would shoot our events, and then we would use the imagery, and so then the people that were coming to the parties a lot, especially, were like, oh, that's me. I mean, so there was nothing like that. I mean, that was real community. So we were just, but that's just the way it was, And then it just, like anything else, it got real big. When you got a mom and pop ice cream shop, it's all organic, it's made from hand.
Right.
As soon as you start dealing with trucks and whatnot, you got barrels and it just goes kind of south. So that's when I broke out. I was like, you know what? It's too big. Y'all can have it. I'm finna go where.
Yeah. Honestly, every time I go down Milwaukee Avenue, I still think of your design studio there because I also thought that was.
We spent 2 days in the basement on all types of substances,
Dude, that was the first place where I actually saw somebody doing like motion graphic visuals, Charles. When I came over to your studio over there out in Milwaukee, and you were messing with that stuff, and I was like, dude, this dude's crazy.
Those are great. Those are good times, man. Those are great days. And I look for the kids now. I'm looking for the innovation, and everyone's just so pre-programmed with like, I don't know, filters. I'm like, okay, I get the filter. Stop the filter. try to think about, I don't know, try to make the filter with something else. You know, use a bottle, get some, and I don't know, well, why would I do that? I have this filter. Like, because you're not learning how to manipulate light, bro. You're learning how to use the filter. You know, I want you to learn how to bend the light so you can get an algorithm, so you can get a block app and you can write your own filter. You know? But I don't know what they think. So anyway, somewhere the smart kids are somewhere innovating every day. So, you know, I say be that, you know.
Are they that smart, though, is the question. They got a lot of tools to their advantage now.
It's tough.
There's pros and cons to it, you know what I mean?
It is. It's tough. I mean, everything, you just push a button, and it's just like anything else. I mean, sometimes I catch myself not knowing how to spell a word because I haven't written word completely in so long. I just write 2-3 letters and the word pops up, you know?
Sure. I don't even trust my own typing anymore.
I want to say something if I could. First of all, I'm so happy that I just kind of jumped in kind of last minute. And hi Miller. So this is not the DJ Shiny page. This is my other business page. But I definitely remember in the 90s attending your events and looking forward to them more than other events because there was a quality about them. Music was always good. There was something different, very unique, you know, rave style. But yeah, it always kind of like, if I think back in that time, that's the only, like you, Cedric, Peter John, Armand, like that whole situation, that's kind of where I come from.
And little love for 5 and Outs.
Oh, that's right, 5 and Outs. I'm sorry. 5 and Outs too. But I pull from that living in Austin. I've been here over a decade, and someone just mentioned the kids. I think Louise said, "Oh, the kids." I live in a city full of kids.
Yeah.
There's a lot of millennials. They're very excited about all the things, but they don't have the history, right? And they're the ones that want the filter. And so I'm trying to do that. And I will probably send you an email or give you a call and kind of see what you think about my ideas.
I'll address it for you real simple, real quick. I was like I told you in the presentation, I used to run sound for all these promoters. And so I watched the promoters dick everybody over. I watched them make a flyer, and I know that this person from Scotland is not coming. I know that they don't have a venue that like the one they just wrote on the flyer. So I'm making the flyer for the guy. I'm like, yo, bro, why would you do that? Yo, Charles, just do my thing.
Make the flyer, bro. I'm telling you to make the flyer.
My partner should have chatted, bro. It's easy. All we have to do is just do a one for real. Because everyone's full of shit, bro. We're going to make a company that calls you back if you call a number. That's all there is to it. So that's why it was called Pure. That was the whole thing. What you're talking about is because the people that made the party made it with the party goer in mind. We were thinking, you could feel that subconsciously somewhere. You could tell when you showed up that someone was in the parking lot. The police were like protecting you. There was some weird kung fu school in there. There's like a paramedic in the corner. You just kind of felt safe. So you did a bunch of drugs. You did a whole bunch of shit. Because you were, it wasn't like, give me your money.
Right.
You're in the West Side and there's like all types of seedy people moving through the room and then it's busted and the promoters they've been gone. They were gone an hour ago.
Right.
You can feel that when you've been ignored, I think.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I have kids now and when we're real focused, my wife's busy, I'm busy, they start acting a fool because they know ain't nobody paying attention to them. So,
that's still a dope name, by the way, and a dope logo to this day. Pure, you know, that's also. We also
it's pure. It's just a word. You just want to try to. I was trying to keep it real, and plus, I've always had such challenge with my own. Whenever I catch myself being inauthentic, you know, because I've come up a lot of times, you know, doing shit, saying shit that I'm like, man, that was that's shady shit right there, you know, and I did it. I was always fighting with myself on that. And whenever I would meet people, you know, like a Freddie was one. He made me kind of have to look at myself because Freddie was just cool.
Yeah.
Not trying to dick anybody over, not trying to win. And I'd be like, damn, I need to chill out, you know. But then, you know, ultimately I'm like, I'm trying to win this shit.